Awesome. All right, y'all. We're going to bring up your first comic of the night. She performs all over. She's actually been a friend of mine for going on 5 years now. Give it up for Lindsay Barnes.
Wait, how many tanks do you have for your 9 fish?
Just one.
Just one. Okay, so you feed them all at the same time. You have one pet. Also, can you imagine if I pulled that shit with my kids? Like, I only named one of them. Or worse, they're all just called Whitey. That's not gonna work for me. But I just heard someone saying, "It's such a great time to be alive." It's a time to be alive. Give me that. But you guys are beautiful. This is really nice. Welcome, Mulligans. Wow, this is it's like looking at a Benjamin Moore swatch card here. Just all the shades of white. Very nice. And some beautiful, I like you a latte. Very European. Don't worry, I can say that. I used to be married to a European. We're still married, but unfortunately, he's only English now, so thanks, Brexit. I like to do that joke up top just to see which one of you guys is down with the foreign policy humor. And dick jokes it is. Got it. Loud and clear, Mulligans. I got you. No, guys, I'm a married Jewish mom. There are no dicks coming in or out of this mouth anymore. My husband's English. It's mostly teabagging. But an English husband, it's great. It's like being married to one of the judges on the Great British Baking Show. Super sweet and viciously passive-aggressive. I don't care for the presentation. That's how he tells me to change before we go out. Not quite how you hoped they'd have turned out. That's how he talks about our kids. It's a bit drier than I care for. That's how he refers to my banana bread. Okay, I feel like some of you guys thought that I was going to say banana bread because I was doing the accent. Cheeky. But I'm getting older. Anyone else?
Yeah.
I am 46. And yeah, I need to hear it. Just because I feel like it's giving more of a hard 39 on a good day. Also, this is as good as it's gonna get. Here's a fun fact they don't tell you about aging, is that you're gonna peak. But you're not gonna know you peaked until at least 8 years after. Oh, it's brutal. I'm out here thinking I'm aging like Ralph Macchio. One day I look in the mirror and I'm like, it's Mr. Miyagi! Wax on, wax off. It's a whole thing now. Other Jewish girls get it. But I wasn't sure what 46 meant. So the other day I Googled, am I in middle age? Which is peak middle age behavior right there. But honestly, the search results were really fascinating. So it's widely regarded as a period of declining health, right? Totally. Superstition, amen. Violent outbursts, oh, let's go. Also known as the dark ages. Okay, so it was at that point I realized I had Googled, am I in middle ages? That's on me. But I kept going, because the search results were on the nose. It's a period of social oppression, persecution of minorities, a plague. Guys, bad news for all of us, because my middle age is the Middle Ages. I've decided to embrace it. I'm leaning in, these days, any minor ailment, and I'm just kind of like, 46, we had a good run. And then 10 minutes later, if I'm still alive, I'm just thinking, oh, maybe I just can't eat raw onions anymore. That's all that was. A couple of popular inventions from the Middle Ages, coffee and eyeglasses. Show me a middle-aged person who can exist without at least one of those. Another popular invention, the heavy plow. I mean, not daily, but every once in a while. Yes, please. Good to know. But I don't like the phrase Middle Ages, right? Or middle age. So I've decided to rebrand. I like to think of myself as young old, or yo for the kids. Because I'm young enough where I know all the new words and technologies, and I'm old enough where I use them wrong and complain about them all the time. I'm a Jew, it's what we do. Like, I only just found out what raw dogging is, which, by the way, if you think you're about to learn the cool, fun, dangerous sex young people are having, is a bit of a letdown. And for those of you that don't know, raw dogging is sex without a condom, or as us married folk like to call it, sex. It's just sex. Very disappointing. Actually, a lot like married sex. I'm so old, I missed dick pics entirely. Like, the closest I've come is one day I was on a Zoom and my husband handed me a Post-it with a little picture of a penis he had drawn on it. Guys, I'm so old, my dick pics are illustrations. I heard someone say, I'm glad you all have that visual now. And it was a Post-it, it wasn't a real life representation, but I heard someone say the other day, they're like, if you want to make it in comedy, you gotta quit your day job. I'm like, yes, I agree. But you know, they really frown on parents who just abandon their kids like that. It's not a good look. I have 2 kids. Anyone else love raw dogging? Yeah. Cool. My kids asked me before we came out here, they were like, Mom, when do we get to watch your comedy? I don't know. How old should your kids be when they find out you used to do drugs? And while I have you, how old should your kids be when they find out you still do drugs? Because it's not covered in any of the baby books. I checked. Honestly, none of what I have to do as a modern parent is in the baby books. Like, watching our parents growing up, that was false advertising. Our parents didn't have to do any of this shit. Our parents had to keep us off of milk cartons. I gotta keep my kids off OnlyFans. That's a false equivalency. My son had a science question recently. I was like, I don't know, Google it. Thank God I was standing right there, because by the 3rd page down, the search results become all sorts of inappropriate for a 4th grader when you ask the question, what is inside a black hole? Parenting is complex though, right? I obviously have to teach my 9-year-old son that catcalling is not okay. I get that. But some days, walking down the street, it's nice to know when I'm looking milfy. Son, don't ever do that. Thank you. I am not a MILF. I've been on Pornhub, guys. I aged out of that category like 15 years ago. But I'm an aspiring MILF. I'm a MILF with an asterisk for you sports fans. Like, I look good for 46. I have a nice body for someone who's had 2 kids and eats like shit every day. I'm smart for all the drugs I do. I look cute in hats. There's no asterisk there. That's just a fun fact about me. But drugs are actually a great prep for having kids because I can operate on no sleep. I'm fluent in talking nonsense. And I'm used to hanging out with people that shit themselves. It comes in handy. It does. They just approved a drug for mothers suffering from postpartum depression. I don't know what the window is on postpartum. Is it like 1 year after you give birth, 2? Like, my kids are 9 and 12. I probably have to go back to calling it regular depression now. My daughter's 12, which is cool because we are the same age emotionally. I mean, we're pretty much the same person now. Moody, sweaty, love a sexual innuendo. I try not to laugh at them in front of the kids. I do, but it's so hard. How about the Beckham documentary? Has anyone seen the David Beckham documentary? It's good, right? I watched it once with my husband, watched it again with the kids. My daughter goes, Mom, David Beckham was hot. I was like, whoa, honey. He still is. Check your ageism at the door, my friend. I just got new sneakers, which I'm very excited about. They're like my joy in life, right? But new sneakers, it's the same as like when you first have kids, right? Just people coming up to me being like, oh, how cute. And in my head, I just can't stop thinking like, I know I'm gonna fuck them up, but the when and how is still a mystery. Oh man. I did have a good go at fucking them up during the pandemic. I was homeschooling my kids, or as I like to call it, finding out way too late in life how dumb I really am. But we tried to keep things as normal as possible for them, right? So we had lesson time and lunch and recess and active shooter drills. Just to keep it normal. For those of you concerned, active shooter drills were just my kids standing around watching me take down a lot of tequila. Everybody down! I dropped the lime! Teachers, it did. But teachers are having fun with it. I don't know if you've noticed, but teachers haven't called a kid weird in like 20 years. And yet, there's an awful lot of quirky, individual, unique kids running around out there. Guys, they just rebranded weird. That's all. My son's teacher was telling us the other day, she was talking about my son's active imagination. I was like, oh, fuck. Which is apparently not what you should say in response on a parent-teacher call. She was like, no, this is great. Like, he could be a famous novelist one day. I was like, okay, you know, you're saying creative storyteller, but I'm hearing pathological liar. And don't get me wrong, I would love to raise the next George R.R. Martin, but not the next George Santos. Slippery slope. You gotta be careful. My daughter's been trying to teach me how to play chess. Guys, I think I might be too woke for chess. Yeah, it's she's setting up the pieces. I'm like, oh, there's bishops? In a game kids can play? Honey, we've learned some stuff over the past few decades. The Russians always seem to be involved somehow. There's something called a Grand Master. That feels clan adjacent. I'm like, all right, let me see if I have this straight. So the queen runs around the board, doing all the work, making sacrifices, all to protect the king who can't even bother to move his lazy ass more than one square at a time. I'm triggered. She says, Mom, you're white, so you go first. The whites always go first. What are we teaching our children? Guys, chess is like Rudy Giuliani, all right? Here we have it. It's been around for centuries. At one point, it was widely respected, but it is not aging well. And it might be a bit more racist than we all remember. So we play for a little bit. She beats me, throws her hands up and screams, I'm Queen of the Blacks! I was like, oh my God, take it down a notch, Rachel told us all. We are done with chess. Chess is canceled in our house. Just can't be too safe with your kids. How about the Ocean's Gate story? Do you guys remember that? That was the submarine that went looking for the Titanic? Sure, yeah. That one really blew up my newsfeed. Oh, it's fine. I knew that joke would implode. But that story really confirmed something for me, and that is this. I just don't want to die in a way where people's first reaction when they hear about my death is, why would you do that? Like, call me old-fashioned, but I'm going for more of a, oh, how tragic. Or a, she fought hard. Not a, the fuck was she thinking? But that's just me. Call me crazy. No, don't. That's how most fights with my husband start. So during the summer, I take 7 weeks off from yelling at my kids, and I go up to Maine, and I work at a camp where I get paid to yell at other people's kids. It's refreshing. It's nice. But I'm up there, and I struggle with how to talk about it in my comedy. I do. Just because comics, I'll explain it. Comics were taught to punch up. So what that means is we make fun of the wealthy, the privileged, Nickelback for some reason. Seriously, I have to teach my kids that bullying is never okay. But I also have to explain to them why, for some reason, society just agreed it's okay to bully Nickelback? Why? And also, more importantly, how did Train get a pass? Bunch of middle-aged white guys singing a song called Soul Sister. They never got canceled. Something's up. I don't know about that. Not too sure. But comics, we don't punch down. So we don't make fun of the elderly or the infirm or children. But at camp, I'm working with privileged children. So is there a time it's okay to punch children? Right. That's not even about my comedy. That's just something I've been wondering since becoming a mom. I should definitely follow that up with, I think child abuse is wrong. However, I think we could probably work on the punishment a little, Like, you're telling me that if my kids have brought me to the absolute breaking point where I could even think of hitting them, and your threat is you're going to take them away from me? Go on, I'm listening. Oh, you're going to send me off to live in a room by myself? I only have one bed to make every day? Lights out are at a reasonable hour? All my meals are cooked for me? That's not punishment, that's incentive. But the camp I work at is a sleepaway camp. For those of you unfamiliar, sleepaway camp is where wealthy Jews send their kids for the summer. And I say Jews, that's obviously an exaggeration, because we have like 6 girls who are only half. Yeah. But honestly, I feel like you gotta give it up for us Jews, because you could see how we could have soured on the whole getting shipped off to camp thing. But no, we dug in and made it our own. Camp's our thing now. And in case you're wondering, I can tell that joke because I am a comedian. It'd be weird if your mechanic or your member of Congress was telling these jokes. I'm just doing my job. You know who did a terrible job? Whoever named Trojan condoms. I mean, if memory serves, that horse was able to enter, empty its contents, and wreak absolute havoc on all the lives involved. That's not what you want from your condom. So I recently got AirPods. Before you go getting too excited, I didn't get real AirPods. They're expensive. I got the cheap version. But honestly, I feel like I'm less attractive to a mugger now. They sneak up behind me like, oh, what are those? The ones from Walgreens? Oh, this bitch has no money. Also, they're tiny, and I'm irresponsible. All right, put it this way. If my kids were this size, I would currently possess 0 children. Problem is, now I'm just another one of those assholes walking down the street looking like I'm talking to myself. Like, those white wires were the only thing keeping other people from thinking I'm crazy. Which is a little ironic, because those white wires were the thing driving me crazy. Oh my God, detangling them every day? Like, no podcast is worth this agony! Oh, I mean, except for all of yours, I'm sure. Too many people have podcasts. I don't have a podcast. I already have a family that refuses to listen to me every day. It felt redundant. Told that joke to my husband, and he said, "Did you say something?" I don't know. I look at AirPods the way I looked at dating in my 20s. I go for the shitty ones, so I'm less disappointed when I inevitably lose them. Even though they're not as enjoyable to listen to and they don't fit in my holes properly. All right, listen, it has been my absolute pleasure to be away from my kids. My name is Liz Barr. Give it up for your
Keep it going for Lindsay, y'all. And before you think she's too high, me and her met doing a podcast together. So, yeah. How many? Oh, also I forgot to say. So for tonight, if you need to go get something to drink, now you can do it while I'm up here. So yes, do it while I'm up here, so the other comics who haven't had your full attention yet can keep it. God damn, y'all can send somebody else to get two at a time.